So for real, they think they can erase Black Americans. That's not even possible. Their towns were burnt. Yeah, Black American towns were burnt. Their books were banned. They tried to silence their voices, but they are still here. They can't erase you. Yeah, they cannot erase you because you built this from nothing. Do you believe that? Do you believe you actually built this for nothing? Watch this videos and I'll be back.
Y'all have fucked and played us long enough. We will never ever get out and fight and protest to go back to a system that has done nothing for us. There is no reason why all the millionaires in the United States, 76% of them are white, 8% of them are Asian, 7% are Hispanic, and 8% are black. Are you fucking kidding me? We helped build this motherfucker. We have been here for the duration. How are we at the same percentage as Hispanics and Asians? Bitch, fuck your protesters, okay? We're never gonna fight to go back to a system that was not built for us and has done nothing for us. Fuck that.
Baby, I usually get on this app to empower and teach. But today, these anti-black folks is pissing me off. Dear whoever this applies to, and if it ain't you, peace and blessing. I need y'all to listen because I'm tired of this conversation and I'm tired of the disrespect. For the past 6 or 7 months, I keep hearing the same rhetoric over and over. Black Americans shouldn't be resting. We're not helping. And the one that's really pissing me off, they coming for y'all next. Baby, the audacity. Because while they're busy screaming, they're coming for you all next, Black Americans have never stopped being the target. Baby, we've never had a break. Black women have been screaming from the rooftops. We're under attack. Black men unalived in the streets like dogs. Our children missing. Our girls adultified and tossed around like rag dolls. All of this and more because we've always been the target and we still are. But y'all turned a blind eye. You ignored that the attacks never stopped. The injustice, the oppression, the disrespect. It's been constant. Let's be honest, because you've always believed we deserved it. But baby, we done with all the disrespect. And the second we said we're tired, we ain't carrying y'all anymore, the disrespect starts flying. And the way you've always felt comes bubbling to the surface. And baby, y'all just forgetting to be nice. Now y'all downright nasty. And it reminds me of the same rhetoric that white people have been spewing for decades. The moment Black Americans stopped working for free, somehow we became lazy. And the whole world believed the bullshit, the ignorance. If y'all hate us so much, leave us alone. Get out of our communities, stop stealing our culture, and keep our names out your mouth. We've respectfully supported your business while you smiled in our faces and talked behind our backs. And in return, we've got nothing but disrespect. All we've ever asked is respect and solidarity. You better be glad that's all we've ever asked for, not revenge, because we'd be well within our rights. Respect and solidarity. And apparently, that's too much. So now we're saying it loud for the people in the back. Leave us the hell alone and stop using us to unload your frustrations about being oppressed in a place you chose to come to. We are not the enemy. We didn't create the oppressive systems. And somehow we keep getting blamed while fighting for our very lives in the same system that we've been oppressed in. But the days of no reciprocity, baby, they're over. And it's not up for debate. Use your energy to fight the real enemy. And it sure as hell ain't Black American. Now, y'all have a good one. Happy Black History 365. And we'll see you next time.
I can't even have a conversation with anybody who's talking about we about to be deported. You know what I'm saying? Black people have been through everything imaginable in this country, and they can't do nothing more to us than they already done. Every year they give us something different. Support LGBTQ. Go vote. Go stop Asian hate. Now it's black and brown unity. You know what I'm saying? They always telling niggas to do something, but we don't never do nothing for ourselves. Where's our reparations? Where's a hate crime bill? And why celebrities ain't speaking on this? They helping the other side. Damn, like, come on, man. You can't make this shit up when you can't make it make sense. Picture perfect. I paint a perfect picture. Most of these public figures.
Scientists argue out of Africa, out of Asia, and out of America. But think about it. Land doesn't lie. Indigenous people are telling people we've been here. Yet y'all are tracing DNA that we all know isn't official to track people back to Africa. Maybe the truth is bigger. Maybe there's many different origins/birthplaces of people. But ask yourself, who benefits from saying America is not the cradle of life?
By being forced to build the very system that oppressed us, Black America developed
This is one of the best
explanations I've ever heard. And I urge you to go back and listen to this creator's full content. It is just mind-blowing. I want to add to that, because what basically she's saying really quickly is that, because we were never allowed as black people to have a chance to be included or assimilated, but because we were forced to build and interact alongside and within the system, we know inside out, and we know white culture inside out. And if you think about it, like anybody who has been a servant or been a butler or been a maid or been a secretary or been an assistant, so think about it, like we have all the interknowledge of not only the physical environment, but the psychological environment, the social environment, to make us be able to exist on our own. I would like to add one thing too. I can't think of any other culture that had to take remember, we've been here since 1600s, black people, and there's been free blacks in the United States since the late 1600s, actually. So you have to remember that there was a thriving black middle class and free blacks that had been around throughout while people were enslaved as well. And what I find amazing and mind-blowing is that after the Civil War, none of those people got help from the government for the most part, either the formerly enslaved or people who had been free. But what the black community had to do was merge the two very different populations. We got free, educated blacks who were, surviving for the first 100 years of this country, and then you had the enslaved, some who were illiterate, some who had no hygiene, some who had no training, some who were treated like animals, and you had to take those two populations, and they all ended up, when the Emancipation Proclamation happened, they all ended up homeless and jobless and mostly illiterate, and you had to merge those two populations into the black community. And so not only does the black community understand the dominant white culture, because we not only built everything, but because we had to interact on such a social level, raising the children, being essayed, you name it, and then also being servants, but also merging our two cultures, where you have two cultures who are kind of really desperate. Like the free blacks are like kind of a community, and then you have enslaved people who are coming from all over, and we merged the two. And we merged the two pretty well. I mean, we still have remnants of everything, of course, but you think about it like that these two communities that were really not that, the only thing they shared was shared oppression. We merged that, and we merged that on our own. We built schools, we built churches, we built communities, social organizations, Greek organizations, you name it. Black Panthers created kindergartens and, Head Start and, free breakfast, and there's all these things that we have done to help ourselves get a foot, because really after the Civil War, the majority of the white population thought that the enslaved people would just die out. They really did. They just thought that they couldn't cope being free, and they couldn't handle and take care of themselves, and they thought they would just die out. That's why we got so little help. They forgot about the existing free blacks who were also middle class and educated, who brought them into the fold, and we unified, for the most part, our community. And what this content creator is basically saying is, because of our unique position, even within the black diaspora, that is our strength. And I agree with her. And I just wanted to add that the strength of also melding in those who we didn't expect to meld in, and melding those two communities together is amazing. And also, any interracial couple before, when interracial laws and all that were highly in effect, often especially in the black church and schools, we also brought in those people, the white people who had married a black woman or a black man and had children, because nobody else would take them. So we also have, if you look at any Greek organization or any HBCU, they've always opened their enrollment to anyone. So we have also, as though we're trying to be take care of ourselves, we've also never excluded, if that makes any sense. Yes, there's been some exclusion on some social things in terms of, but I want to talk about that, that's different. But in general, everything was open to everyone, and who wanted to go, and that's a strength that I think we are harnessing right now, and I think that's a strength that we need to remind ourselves that we can harness. And it's so nice to see the Black Scottish saying hello, and I think the Black Brits are coming around. The Black diaspora across the world, that's why I love what this content creator is talking about, because that is why we are so separate, because it was designed for us to stay separate and to see each other as others, and because like, you just got to watch the whole thing. Like, African states were offered independence, but they offered identity. We weren't offered an identity as Black Americans. We created our own, we forged our own, we demanded our own, and we fought for our own. So that within that strength and that ability and that force comes a creativity and instinct for survival that is unmatched. And if we can harness that and continue to harness it as we have been, I'm not gonna say we'll be fine, but I'm putting my money on us, and I'm putting my money on this kind of ingenuity, this thinking out of the box. I could go on and on about the types of music that have changed, the way even spoken word is changing, even the way people jump rope. We can think out of the box because we have never been totally brought into having to go within the constraints of the society that is dominant. And again, please watch this creator. It was like a TED Talk. It was like amazing, and I am a huge fan now. I had never discovered her before, but now I'm a huge fan, and I really loved everything she was talking about.
So I finally got a chance to watch that Breakfast Club interview with that Congressman Byron Donald, who was talking about how he's against reparations for foundational Black Americans and how he feels like the problem with reparations would be that people who are not descendants of slave owners, aka immigrants, would be the ones who basically end up having to pay for that in the future. Like they're the ones who have to basically pay that out. And so every time I see a Black American person that talks about this topic, they're always being very politically correct. Okay, so I'm going to volunteer myself to be the ignorant one and to say the quiet part out loud. Okay, because I don't mind doing that. So this guy, he's Jamaican and Panamanian, right? So he's speaking on this topic. I understand that he's a politician, but he's speaking on this topic from a foreign perspective, right? Not from the perspective of the people who are descendant of this major tragedy that happened in the United States. So his perspective is obviously very biased, in my opinion. And so my thing is, if you have an issue, if you feel like that your problem with this whole reparations thing is that you would have to end up paying this out and you're not going to benefit from it, right? And other immigrants are going to end up having to pay for this. You got two whole ass countries that you can fly your ass back to. You have Panama, you have Jamaica. And that goes for any other immigrant. Wherever your country of origin is, if you don't want to pay into the American society or whatever it is that the government decides that they want to do with the taxpayers' money or however they would do it, I don't even know how they would do reparations. I'm not sure. But if you don't want to be a part of that, if you feel like, I don't want to pay into this, like but you have a whole ass country that you can fly your ass back to. And the reason why I'm saying that, yeah, I do. I know it sounds ignorant and I don't care. I'm going to just say the quiet part out loud because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other Black Americans who think the same thing. You know, people come over here and they brag about, oh, my country is this, my country is so much better. Then they come over here for a better opportunity. They diss and they dog Americans. They tell us how we're uneducated and we don't have any schools and how having an education over here is illegal and just all this dumb, ignorant stuff that they say. But yet brag and brag about where they came from, but yet they're over here and trying to make decisions on things that have nothing to do with them. And they don't want to fly their ass back to where they came from. They just want to be over here and stay over here. Because I just feel like anytime somebody doesn't benefit from something, they're always going to try to shut it down. And that's what I feel like this politician is doing. And that's this is a part of the reason, like when I said in one of my previous videos, I don't feel like immigrants. I don't feel like you should be able to be in political power. I don't believe that you should hold any political office unless you've been in the United States for at least 3 generations. Because if you haven't, you don't have enough love and respect for this country to make decisions on anything. He does not understand enough about the Black American experience, the foundational Black experience and what that looks like and what that looked like throughout history and how it built the country. He does not have enough experience in that to speak on it at all or to make a decision on it. Why are we having people who are not even from here make decisions for us? That does not make sense to me. It never has. If you haven't been here for at least 3 generations, and to me, that's being generous. Why are you in political power? I would never go fly to Panama and try to make decisions for Panamanians or fly to Jamaica or fly to Brazil and run for office down there and try to make decisions for Brazilians. Why would I do that? Why would I try to stop them from getting anything? But yet people want to come over here and they want to do it because there's some type of ulterior motive. And I'm going to just leave it at that.
So in London, this young lady posted how in London on the news, they're talking about the African Americans in America, right? And on the London news, they are talking about how we were told that we were brought from Africa or we made a voyage from Africa to the Americas. But everyone around the world, I promise you this is why they stare at us the way that they do. They stare at us the way that they do because we need to be fucking studied. It's a fucking mental case, okay? So around the world, they know who we are. And that's probably why they stare at us the way that they do. On the London news, they were talking about how the African American did not come from Africa and how we are actually indigenous Americans and how our titles were changed and now we're here forced to choose a side. Kind of like, do you want to identify with the African American or do you want to go and claim your indigenous rights, your indigenous heritage? But then you got the people who done drank so much tap water and ate the fluoride toothpaste that they're just like, you guys are crazy. Like, you are from Africa, West African, blah, blah, blah. Never pick up a book, never read anything besides the history book that the teacher put in front of them when they were in grade school to understand anytime you hear Black or African American, you should automatically think reclassification from the indigenous Americans. Everyone around the world knows who we are. And the people who are right here on American soil who knows who the African American is going to gaslight the African American or the indigenous American to think that they don't know who they are. There's one thing that you can tell me, but when my spirit says that is not true, that is not true. So anytime you hear African American, your first thought should be reclassification. Because that's all that is reclassification of the indigenous American. There's no, you can line the diaspora up and you can point people out from where they're from. There's no, you guys think that the American, the black American has curly hair because they mixed with white people? So you'll just think that we're light skinned because every black person on this, in whatever you want to call this, you think that every black American who looks my complexion is because we have European descent. And then even on that pie chart, right, of our DNA makeup, I don't give a fuck how much European it says. Because before white people came along 3,000 years ago, let me tell you, black people were on every continent. Melanated people were on every continent, including Europe. We come from Europe. Europe is named after Europa, a melanated goddess. Okay? We are the indigenous Americans. Why would you bring all them Africans over to a land that already has people on it? Why not just enslave the people? Because that's what they did. But in order for them to keep on the land that they stole, they can't tell you that you are from here, because you know why? Because then they have to leave. Then you can run the land. Then you will know nobody's shipping me anywhere. Actually, you gotta go. If the black American, the African American, the original indigenous American knew that America was not just its home now, but has always been its home, then we could take people to the world court and make them have to get the hell up off our land because they're squatters. They're squatters. But you know, pick a side, pick a side.
I just saw a video of a guy who was like, yeah, typically when you ask a black American where they're from, they're going to say like Chicago, they're going to say like New York. No, we don't. No, the fuck we don't. We literally say we're from fucking America. And what irritates me with that argument is when they go like, when you ask anybody else where they're from, any other else from the black diaspora where they're from, they'll say somewhere like where their tribe is from Africa. No, Jamaicans don't know where the fuck they're from. Neither do black Brazilians. We know that we're from Africa. Majority of us know that we have ties to Africa. So it's like fucking dumb. And what's even crazier is the fact that you guys think that it's isolated to one location. You fail to realize that black Americans are different because we were bred. They had farms in which they had literal breeding farms. They were pairing black Africans from all over that fucking continent together and just saying, which one is the strongest and which one can make us the best fucking mule. We were fucking bred. Black Americans do a DNA test and we have like 5 or 6 different fucking African countries. I don't think y'all comprehend that. Like, you can sit there, like, if you're somebody that's from an isolated region in Africa, you can say that. We can't say that. We were fucking bred.
What's not making sense to you? But thank you. You just stepped right into my classroom. Have a seat. There were 2 groups of people. The black indigenous tribes that was here first, and the so-called natives that arrived later. In 1492, Christopher Columbus first encounters the black indigenous tribes that were here first. That's why you can find some of the descriptions in their diaries or colonial records depicted dark-skinned, woolly hair, or copper-colored people. The black indigenous tribes were enslaved on their own land. The so-called natives signed treaties and aligned with the colonizer powers in exchange for land and benefits. And let's not forget that some of the Native Americans were intermixing with the black indigenous tribes. They were selling out their own darker complexion family members. 2, you said that the Native Americans were the actual indigenous people. How can you be indigenous to a land that you migrated to? Oh yeah, and by the way, Native American is a U.S. brand name given to the so-called natives you see today. The real indigenous tribes had real nation names such as Lenape, Nottoway, Shawnee, Patwatan, etc. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. We have government state archives, U.S. Census, Smithsonian Museum, Library of Congress, Indian Removal Act, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, Indian State Territory records of the 1800s, Explorers' Journals, court cases, the Doe's Rolls, and I can keep going too. Thirdly, you said what languages did we speak? And I was going to tag you in one of my videos that I recently did because it has more details and more receipts. But at this point, you're just giving me more content. We had the Timucua language, the Gully/Muskogee languages, the Natchez, the Wichita, the Wampanoag, which is a Algonquian dialect. Our current one, AAVE, which stands for African American Vernacular English. And there's hundreds of more, but I'll be here all day. Questions you need to be asking the Native Americans. What language did they speak before they was colonized? What did they use to identify themselves before they were sold back their own identity and given a colonizer card? And lastly, you asked, what are some examples of black indigenous heritage? Okay, so like practices like hoodoo, root work, and conjure which is a mixture of Black American and Black Indigenous herbal knowledge and land and spirit in the Americas. For example, many root doctors use plants from the southeast, like tobacco, sassafras, sweet gum, that weren't African in origin. Many of those remedies were passed down from our Black Indigenous ancestors. Land and farming. Yeah, those so-called sharecropper skills are a continuation of Black Indigenous agricultural science. Many Black families in the South didn't just farm cotton, but they also farmed indigenous crops like corn, beans, and squash, also known as the Three Sisters. Music and rhythm, which later became gospel, jazz, blues, hip-hop, rap. Let's not forget rock and roll, because that's also ours too, thus becoming our heritage soundtrack. Those current stuff I just named were both an adaptation and a continuation of Black Indigenous heritage. We were literally blending our survival skills, spirituality, and creativity both into something new and ancient at the same time. Thank you for stopping by my classroom. Class dismissed.
I feel like this should have been happening. I really do. I feel like that we should have been and had a new party by now. I don't know what our elders were on. I don't know why our elders were so quick to just join with the Democrats when we have such a fickle history with them. I get it that, like, when it came to, you know, the Depression, Black people was just like, look, we need some help. We need whatever help we could get you. So we gonna rock with Roosevelt. I don't understand for the life of me why y'all never formed your own party. Why y'all were so gun-ho with joining the ranks of these people with everything that they have done to our community. And y'all still standing with them. And we literally can see that these motherfuckers do not want us to rise up for shit. It doesn't matter if you don't like the Republicans. We ain't been voting Republican. We haven't. So why the fuck would they do anything for us? We've been voting with the same party for over 60 years, and they don't do shit for us. They have literally put immigrants over the needs of Black Americans. How do y'all not see that is the problem? I used to be a Democrat, so I understand that people literally just blindly vote. Y'all don't even be knowing what y'all be voting for half the time. Y'all just be like blue no matter who. That's a bad decision. Because that means that y'all are willing to vote anybody who is a Democrat or anybody who is Black in position, no matter what their policies are. It's a dangerous way of being. I just feel like we should have had an additional party by now. Once we thought that neither one of the parties were going to be about shit and they weren't really moving on the issues that we voted them to do, y'all should have been and created another party. Seriously, y'all should have. Made y'all motherfuckers complacent. They made y'all very complacent, very comfortable with your welfare programs and the voting rights that you already had, but you couldn't vote because of the Black codes. They made our elders, our boomers, very comfortable. And when LBJ said, I had these niggas voting Democrat for the next 200 years, he ain't lying. You need to not give them 140 more years. Y'all gave them 60. That's fair enough.
And let me tell you, they have a long history of doing this shit. They do it to other groups of people on the continent. Okay? This is one of the reasons why quiet is kept. Okay? The Northern Africans, right? The Northern Africans, they separated from West and Central Africa a long fucking time ago. Right? I bet you them Nigerians and them won't bring their ass up here to talk about that shit. They won't bring their asses up here to talk about that shit, about how they be viewing them as lower than them all the time. Okay? So Black Americans really are just the group that Western Africans, that some Western Africans and some Central Africans have decided to latch the fuck onto. Okay? Because we have things of merit and they don't. That is the truth. The only way they can even be successful, there are two ways of success for them. One, exploiting their own fucking people in their country on the continent. And two, going to another country and making something of themselves. Okay? With the opportunities that are created in the country that they immigrate to. With the resources that are created by the country that they immigrated to. They don't have shit. They don't have a goddamn thing that they are globally recognized for except selling their own people into slavery. They don't have a fuck thing else that they are globally known for. They are globally known for being fucking failures. That's the truth. That's the truth. And I feel like Black Americans should stop pussyfooting around with them. Because I know I don't. When they come in my comments, baby, I skull drag them. Okay? I drag them by their non-existent edges. Every time. You don't get the fuck away from me. Like I told y'all, Northern Africans already did that shit to them. Did that. They don't even play. They don't even try to play games. They don't even try to play games with them. Okay? They're like, you're not going to fucking claim our goddamn pyramids and shit. You're not going to try to claim our dynasties and buildings and all of that different shit. All of our modern accomplishments and whatnot. You motherfuckers was over there not doing a goddamn thing in West Africa. Not doing a goddamn thing in Central Africa. Get the fuck away from us with that. Okay? And Black Americans have to treat them the same fucking way. We have to treat them the same goddamn way. Get y'all dumb asses over there.
Okay? You gotta come here to make something of yourself. Get the fuck on. Okay? Get the fuck on, because ain't nobody gave us a goddamn thing. And we made something of ourselves. So, I don't play with them. Start cussing their ass, baby. Start cussing. I drag their ass through the mud. I drag their ass through the dirt. And I let them know that the only thing that y'all did that made a mark on the world was popping off the transatlantic slave trade. And your bitch is still selling people into slavery today. Get the fuck on.
So it looks like the white liberals, progressives, these social justice warriors are upset because Snoop Dogg said he was scared. And basically, he didn't want to have to explain that to his child at a Disney movie. Who could blame him? See, what these liberals and white progressives don't understand is that when it comes to sexuality, that overemphasis on it, that is not a priority in Black America. We got other issues to deal with in this country and in our daily lives. It does not mean we do not have people in that community, part of that sexuality in our community. It just doesn't mean that we overemphasize it, thinks everybody need to be saturated with it, and we don't think we need to be explaining those things to our kids at an early age. Those things, lifestyles, beliefs, what people do or whatever, maybe let a child enjoy their childhood. And again, to think that they could cancel Snoop Dogg, a Black American cannot be canceled. You know, they should have learned this from how we've handled the conservatives, Republicans, and now the left and the progressive needs to understand that Black America's resolve and our resiliency, you can't touch it. And what they don't want to do is pull us into their tribal war, because they use sexuality as it's part of their arsenal in their war with the white straight man, the Republican, the conservative, these effeminate men and the women that back that stuff up. Those are their tribal wars, and they don't like it because they've convinced themselves that Black America is a part of that foolishness, but we're not. So there are a lot of us that believe the same exact way that Snoop Dogg was. Y'all never asked us, because remember, you were the ones that said we were all in this together, and being Black in America is just like being LGBTQ. We never said that because we could never go in a closet, and we, no matter who we marry, who we're around, who we're in relationship with, we can pass on our history, our culture, and our genetics.
Black people in America, I need you to hear me. As a Black American, I need you to understand that our ancestors have built this country brick by brick. Blood, sweat, and tears went into building this country. Yet when we look around, we are less than 1% of the land, the businesses, everything. Yet we are the biggest consumers of a lot of these businesses. We have paved the way. Our ancestors have died just so we can be free. Yet other people are thriving off of American resources, and we have nothing. Do y'all understand that? We have nothing. And yet we're still not seen, not respected by everybody who's coming here and thriving off a foundation that our ancestors died over and built. Do y'all understand that? We are literally the blueprint of a lot of the culture, a lot of the influence. We need to protect, rebuild, and reclaim what's ours. We are not a trend, we are the foundation. Yet people try to give us crumbs. We have nothing, guys. Yet we open up America so all these other countries, all other Africans, all other ethnicities can thrive. And we are less than 1%, and we don't have anything. And we constantly spend our money with all these other corporations that don't benefit the Black community. I think you guys, we really need to figure this out. This should make you angry that our ancestors built all this shit, yet we still don't have shit. We don't have shit. And a lot of Black people are constantly trying to prove that they have money, spending money with these big corporations. We still don't have land. We still don't have a bunch of shit. And I'm not discrediting a lot of the Black people who do have things, but we're not the majority. Look at the statistics. Look at the rate. Our ancestors built this shit. Blood, sweat, and tears. They've died. And we've paved the way for so many other people to come here and thrive, and we don't have anything. You guys need to wake up. And it's been on my heart heavy, so I had to make a video about it. There are more, just looking at the Amanda Seals video, there are a lot of Black people in America who think that Black people don't amount to anything in our own communities, and it's not our fault. But we have to stick together, guys, and there's a revolution that needs to come about, because our ancestors built this shit, and we don't have shit. We don't have shit.
Immigrants, there are going to be the next group that are going to be the majority in this country, and they're trying to stop that. This is what, and Donald Trump understands this. He understands. So all of you immigrants who believe that that black people can be in some kind of way deported, you need to read the Constitution. You have to understand that black and YT people will not be deported in this country. There are some Native Americans being deported. Did you know that? There are some Native Americans that are being deported before us. Because they're not in the Constitution. They're not in the Constitution. We are the only people that they cannot touch like this. And y'all fail to understand this. And now I understand why there's so much hurt and so much pain and so much divide, so much angry people when it comes to when I see.
If poor people were lazy, America would have collapsed a long time ago. Who's cooking your food? Who's driving your deliveries? Who's watching your children? Who's cleaning your buildings? Who's detailing your car? Who's picking up your trash? Poor and working class people run this country every single day. And they do it while working double shifts, juggling side hustles, and raising families. There is nothing lazy about surviving a system that is built to crush you. Funny thing is, it's the lazy billionaires sitting on yachts calling you and me the lazy ones. To that, I always say, miss me with that nonsense. Tag somebody you know that needs to hear this and comment below, we built this. If you are proud of what real people make happen in America every day.
That's powerful, right? So they thought destroying your past would break your future, but they forgot you don't need their permission. Of course you don't. You guys are so bold. You guys need nobody's permission to rise. Yeah. You guys have been building from the scrap since day one, turning pains into power. So no, they cannot erase you because you are at the foundation. You can't be erased. I said it. You know it, right? If you're a working proof that black excellence can be erased, say it loud in the comments. I want to see it. I want to see it because you are the legacy. So let me see that in the comments. Do not forget to subscribe, like this video, and share to your friends, right? Do not forget to always support the hood. It's always global gist with BJ. With me, Blessing, I love you all, and I'll be back with the next one. Expect a banger.